Bom dia a todos e todas. Para que não haja problemas de comunicação, durante esta hora vamos falar inglês, o que é estranho porque no Brasil fala-se uma espécie particular de português. Aqui eu também falo uma espécie particular de português, o meu português não é português, é português, que é do Porto. E portanto, vocês também falam muitos castelhanos diferentes, vamos ter aqui uma coisa como o inglês. Então deixem-me mudar para inglês. Maurício, it's an honor and a real pleasure to have such a great epidemiologist helping us to close this meeting. Maurício is going to present the 100 million Brazil cohort, which is an amazing study on how bringing people from poverty to some sort of decent life can make an extraordinary change in health. Most of you know Maurício. Maurício is a well-known epidemiologist, has been the editor of Journal Epidemiology and Community Health, was and remains professor in Bahia, but it's also working with Fiocruz in Rio. So he has an enormous amount of experience and especially a brilliant thinking about epidemiology. So Maurício, thank you very much for coming here.
How I put the apresentação? Como eu coloco? Não, tá saindo.
Tá aqui.
Okay, thank you very much, Henrique, Carmen, all the organizing committee of this meeting. Yeah, it's really a great honor to be here. Yeah, I only arrived yesterday without my luggage because I was lost in some part of the world. Then was a bit confused to be here. Then I keep the same clothes that I travel. Then I can't have time, not other clothes to change. Yeah. But it's fine, yeah. I'd like to say thanks. It's really an honor to be to do this talk, yeah. And I'm try here in this short time that I have, I present some ideas, preliminary results, and discuss a bit, yeah, on this process of build up this 100 million cohort. Is something different that classically epidemiology do, nah? Then I have some plans, My idea is to have some initial talk on some introductory ideas, talk a bit on Latin America and Brazil, the process of build up the cohort, yeah, preliminary results and the plans, new plans, about the center that houses the cohort. Is a special thing that I think is necessary to talk because they both are very interlinked. There is no one without another. And to do some concluding remarks. Well, epidemiology, you have here in the open of this Congress about the social determinants in epidemiology. Now, Ilona Kika-Bush presented here. And a lot of things has been done since at least the 19th century. Yeah, we epidemiologists try to understand how the context that we live influence the health condition of ourselves and the population in general. Then different models have been built up. Yeah, a lot of different theoretical grounds to create new theoretical framework, yeah. A lot of empirical study. I put this here, for example, as published past year, yeah, using 1.7 million people, yeah, from different parts of Europe and United States, and they showed that the classical risk factors, yeah, for NCDs, no communicable disease, yeah, is poverty is so important as the classical risk factors. But one point that I'd like to talk is that you have been talking a lot on social determinants, yeah, but you have a lot more difficult when you think how to change the social determinants. Yeah, this is a big question. Yeah, that how to intervene to change that. And I put this slide here was an analysis that a group of people in Brazil did. It was in 2011, we published a series in Lancet on Brazil. This is one of the paper I read that is here, and the other colleagues did that. And you conclude that the success or partial success in the control of several diseases in Brazil was not only due to the technological advancement, but was how the policies that put these strategies and this technology to work, these policies operate. How the country build up a lot of different policies, include social policies, altogether, to explain this effect. This is one kind of example that when you want to explain things, you need to start to think more deeply on the political and the policy process. Well, then one point that I would like to stress, very simple. Now, you understand a lot on social determinants in the health, but you have a lot of difficulties to understand how socioeconomic policies influence the social determinants and influence health. You understand a lot less. And it's very clear in our debate, in papers, famous papers that analyze the social determinants and health with fantastic analysis. But when you go to the how to change that, how this move, how this is transformed, you have a lot more difficult to use our knowledge, our methods, our way to do science. I'm coming now back to Latin America. Latin America is some of you maybe stay in Latin America, is a group of countries which that is have some characteristic that is the huge social inequality. We are marked social inequality. You see in this map of the world, how Latin America, despite not to be the poorest area in the world, is the more unequal area in the world. But in the past few decades, there was a lot of political transformation in Latin America. Until set point, very good, very positive, a lot of advancements, More recent time, the things start to change, for bad. Here are some graphs only to show that, how poverty, extreme poverty decreases, how inequality decreases, because in a moment that inequality was increasing in Europe, in North America, inequality was decreasing in Latin America, how this graph shows. And this means that even the G9 index, that is a measure of the inequality, decrease in this period. You see a positive effect. Despite continuing very unequal, but there was a really great advance in the 80s, 90s, 2000, in the first decades of this century. Here, an example of Brazil. Here is a Human Development Index. That's an international index used in general. The United Nations uses to classify the countries in the world nowadays in terms of social development. And here is for the Brazilian municipality. You see in the 90s, everything near red. You see in 20 years how the color changed. It's a very appealing and very visual what has happened in terms of positive change. The undernutrition of the kids. These are national surveys that show that in the poor in general, but in the poorest group, that is in this side of the graph, how decrease undernutrition. Brazil now was was below 5% of undernutrition. That put Brazil in the official FAO map, in the same level as Europe and North America countries in terms of undernutrition. But now, I'm not going to go further in that, but only I'd like to stress, after 2015, things changed completely in Brazil. You see here how the level of poverty and extreme poverty shifted. Is exactly in 2015 is this moment of shift. the infant mortality that was decreasing year by year, yeah, going to levels in direction of to levels similar developing countries in more few years, yeah, in 2016 start to increase again. Then this is a political complex process that is going in Brazil, in Latin America, that is doing with austerity measures, with cut off in social protection programs, reduction of budget, health budget, and all the social support things, that at the end, you have this completely change. Bem, what I like to say, I'm a group of epidemiologists, that are active in Brazil, and that think that this is a timely period, because these last decades in Latin America, to study the relationship among economical change, social protection, and the other important topics, and important policies on health in Latin America. It could be a useful model to understand. For example, here in Europe, there is a lot of studies, very important studies on the austerity period after 2008, that help to understand not only the effect of austerity policy has on health, but also to understand these complex things that you don't understand completely among policies, social determinants and the health. But I'm going to focus for some time in this special program. You can talk in a lot of things, a lot of different things, but I'm going to talk in one model of program, the social protection schemes, around the world have different kind of programs, One that is very popular now in the developing world is the called cash transfer program, a program that the government, put some money, transfer some money to poor people, like a salary, and the only obligation, are several or semi-conditionalities, For example, in Brazil, the conditionalities are that all the kids need to be followed by in the health system until it is 7 years old, need to go to school. Any mother pregnant need to have care the pregnancy. Then a group of conditionalities that also have at the end positive effect on health and on education. But the most important part of the program, because they are popular, are the transference of some money, for a group of poor people. Then this money can be measured, can be estimated, and then a lot of studies have been done all over the world, try to understand a program that affects poverty, and how poverty affect health. So there is a great interest in this literature, to try to understand and this fact, and the studies have been done in different parts of the world. Here is the Brazilian program. It's a big program. It's one of the biggest in the world. Brazil have a large population, and then this is the biggest cash transfer program in the world. Nowadays, around 40 million people receive this, some kind of help from the government, and this have been an important tool, have a lot of data, responsible for that graphic that I showed before, for the decrease of poverty and extreme poverty that happened until 2015 in Brazil. Well, years ago, people started to be interested in the effects on health. This is an example of a study that's done in my group, showing effect of this program on health. I'm not going in details, but only you use epidemiologists don't like so much, but it's a way to do science. Sometimes the famous ecological studies. You use aggregated data, to explain things, and it is in some moment a powerful instrument to do and to produce knowledge, And these studies show, that the program, have effect on reduce the childhood mortality in Brazil. An important effect in reducing childhood mortality. Then was very interesting. You have a lot of debate on that, on methods, on different things. Here I summarize the method, but who want to know better can access the paper, but it's a mixed ecological study using municipality as unit of analysis. Is a longitudinal, using 2.4 to 9, use a lot of different data, different sources of data, but always aggregate data. That is in general public data, that is very easy to get. A lot of independent variables, confounders and the others, use a negative binomial regression approach, to give account of the modeling, and at the end you showed with very appealing results showing that the coverage of Bolsa Familia have a trendy effect, a link of as you increase the coverage in the municipality, you increase the effect on decreasing childhood mortality. Here also on hospitalization, on different causes of death. Brazil have a good system of death registration. You can use the causes of death. Here you see a huge effect on malnutrition, diarrhea, disease related, and less in other causes, and also the hospitalization to confirm the effect on mortality. You showed also an effect, on decreasing hospitalization for the same causes, as affect mortality. And the both data, the both analysis shows the same level of magnitude. The same study was reproduced later for others outcomes. Here I have example of leprosy, tuberculosis, and always showing a positive effect. The increase, the Bolsa Familia, the small transference of money for a massive group of people, they have effect on decreasing the different outcomes in health. There is now data on, as I show, childhood mortality, leprosy, tuberculosis, on violence, homicide rates, and the other kind of outcome. But as you know, these are ecological studies, and ecological studies have a lot of methodological limitation, and also it's not so easy to go deeply in analysis, to understand, for example, mechanisms, interaction, studying more detailed, in subpopulation, and a lot of things that is possible. And as epidemiologists do, is not possible or have a limitation when you use a method like this one. Then in this context, that appeared the idea of the 100 million cohort. One of the person interested in the result was an ex-minister of social development. She was very happy to show that the program that she directed have shown effects in different things, including health. And then she was very, very happy. And she started to say, okay, I'm open to discussing new things, new adventures that you want to do. Think about and present to me. Then I was thinking, in Brazil, any applicant, not only Brazil, in Brazil and the other Latin America countries, any applicant for a social program needed to fulfill a huge form, and this register is who based the decision for the people receiving or not that program, that you ask for. And it's not only for Bolsa Familia, but a set of different programs, You have a lot of different social programs that are connected with the Cadastro Único. Then this Cadastro Único nowadays is a register that more than half of the Brazilian population, and sure the poor part of the Brazilian population is registered. As you see in the end, we arrive at a figure of 140 million people Was registered. But for us epidemiologists, if you have something to register someone, and you have possibility to follow that, you start a cohort. A cohort is a very simple thing. People try to sophisticate it, but when you see the original cohort, you have some original data of a group of population, and you have the opportunity to follow this population. Then this is the simple idea of the cohort. Then if you have the cadastro único, it's a register that starts 204, and coming until present days, current days, registering people all the time, yeah? If you take this original information as the baseline, you can, and you have opportunity to follow them, you have opportunity to build up a cohort. A cohort in which the exposures, were the social programs, the intervention on the population will be the main purpose of the idea of the cohort. And the outcomes, exist around, for example, the healthy outcomes. If you obtain data from the Ministry of Health, the registers that are kept in the Ministry of Health, you can mount a kind of longitudinal structure that you can follow and analyze. Sure, that is not so simple as you want to be. There was a lot of work to be done, homework. One was to put all this data, in a format, of a baseline, a lot of harmonization, the form changed over time, there was some changes. Then you need to harmonize the different questionnaires. You need to put the beginning of each person when it started, to be registered. Then you have a lot of operation to do that. And arrive to this baseline, the 140 million people. Then, as I said, if you get data, different kind of data that epidemiologists work, being mortality, hospitalization, diagnosis, or other things, you can think on outcome. And then this happened, was a huge work, to negotiate all these things. But a lot of other institutions, in Brazil were sensitive with the idea, And then now you have this graph, this table, show more or less what is going on, in terms of data, data that you have the baseline, the cadastro único, that is 140 million. Part of this cadastro único is update, not all, but some people update the data. Then you have update of that, You have intervention, So far, you have three kinds of different intervention. One that you have been working more, that you show preliminary results. But you have the cash transfer program, Bolsa Família. There is a housing program that built up until now 1.5 million houses, cisterns, program also in some dry areas of Brazil, and build over 1 million cistern. And you have different potential data when you can take out the outcomes, like mortality data, hospitalization data, birth data, and the others that you are, or the notification system data, of infectious disease and violence, Then if you put this all together, you have a reproduction of a cohort in some sense. Then this is the basic idea, is a baseline, where the basic data is extracted from cadastro único. This in white are shown data that already start to, or have already done, you have it linked with the main system, and the other data that you are in process or you try to get in not white. And then this is a general structure that make possible any cohort, if you think, for example, any cohort collect data where investigators can do analysis in subset or test different hypotheses, use the data. The idea is the same, because you have this huge database, where the questions, the research questions are supplied or are inferred from some pieces of this data, of this huge set of data, piece of this data is used to answer different questions, like any other cohort. This here is a structure. I don't know, that is not very clear. There is a shadow, that is the age structure of the Brazilian population through the census, and in black is the structure of the people registered in Cadastro Único. You see that there is a trend toward more young people, child and young people, but you have representation for all of age groups, while these are less, than and a lot over-representation of children, given that the program, is one focus of the Bolsa Familia program is to give or support families with small kids. Then this reflects in the structure, but you have a representation all the age groups in the population. Here is in the country. Brazil is a large country, but you see the poorest areas in the northeast region. They have more representation, and the south that are richer, they have a less representation. But all the states are represented, with millions of people contributing in data for the cohort, you have a problem, to analyze this, the analytical problem, that you need to, all these, only this give full seminars or several seminars, epidemiologists are used to analyze observational data, and some very few analyze cohort or trials and the other type of more experimental things. There are few people that are using the so-called quasi-experimental methods, or natural experimental methods. Depends of the literature that this come from, but then these two terms are used, sometimes with a lot of similarities. Then you have a lot of different methods, to try to analyze the effects of intervention. When you don't have a RCT, a full RCT, you can create some analytical structure, capable to imitate or to be more proxy of RCT, and solve of the part of the problem, of the analytical problem, that you compare unequal groups, who receive Bolsa Familia is naturally different from don't receive Bolsa Familia. Then how to create a contrafactual, this is the huge analytical problem, that people are working a lot nowadays, several good people think about that, and is very important in the context of a study like this one, where you use these things between observational and experimental, a quasi-experimental, natural experimental investigation. Then terms like method, like propensity score method, regression discontinuity design, is more important in this context. That's not so familiar, and it is not yet taught in normal course of epidemiology. This is, you see that historically, epidemiology was not so much interested in analyzing and in focus, in analysis of policies, for example. And it's true that when you apply this for 100 million in this huge database, a lot of complications appear. A lot of new different things appear that need to be tackled, that need to be approached in some way and solved in some way. Then all the methodological challenges are very big in this field, of evaluation, of quasi-experiments, but also there is new challenge when you work in this with large set of data like this one. But I only show quickly, my time is going over. There is some analysis going. You start to do that. The cohort officially started on past year. Then was a huge effort to put all this data to operate these things. And the first analysis started this year. and you have some preliminary feeling, yeah, of these results, né? Or some of these results, yeah, for some question. A lot of analysis going, yeah, is like any other cohort, yeah. As I said, you can take different research question to analyze, né? And nowadays, in this moment, there is around 50 analysis going on, né? And more 10, yeah, is being prepared to be soon operating. But this one was analyzing the leprosy problem. You show that you have shown before in the ecological analysis that leprosy, or Bolsa Familia, has an effect on leprosy. Né? How this operate, or this can be, what the result will be when you analyze individual data, yeah, in this huge amount. Then a group of investigators, a very nice postdoc that work with us, Giulia Pescarini, is leading this analysis, specific analysis, and using a propensity score match, yeah, approach, yeah, and using part of the cohort, yeah, around 30 million people, yeah, to study, yeah, the question that he put. Here is the selection process of the population cases, yeah, because it's possible. He put together different databases for this study, and he needed the cadastro único, he needed the Bolsa Familia, he needed the information on diagnosis of leprosy in Brazil that is coming from other database called SINA. And then these three databases were necessary to be linked to give the final the data that she's working. Então, she's working with near 30 million families, yeah, and 40 million people or more, yeah, and you have thousands and thousands of cases of leprosy. Leprosy, despite to be important disease, is not so frequent, yeah, is the level that you consider leprosy frequent is rare for other diseases. And then to put together a great number of cases, you need to assemble a large population and several years for you have some thousand of cases, as the case here. Yeah, as I said, he used propensity score matching, and at the end he showed a strong effect, yeah, of Bolsa Familia on leprosy. And the most important is that this graph, yeah, that this effect is going over time, is cumulative effect. You see, the people who have received Bolsa Familia, not received Bolsa Familia, start to be differentiated each time more, yeah. As the time go, the difference is increasing. If you remember, I think a lot of you don't know that, but leprosy was common in Europe, yeah. Was very common in the 19th century, 17th, 16th century. There was leprosy in Europe. And leprosy appeared in Europe in the process that Europe changed, yeah, that there was no treatment, nothing specific when leprosy disappeared from Europe, yeah. There is some theories about that, yeah, but some believe that it was the social and economic change that happened in Europe. It was a huge contributor of disappearance of leprosy in Europe. And then you saw something similar. With time, leprosy is decreasing in the group that receive a very thin amount of money, and it can be controlled, with a reasonable small intervention. Another analysis going on is on childhood health. Yeah, you show also you have a paper, yeah, that show effect on the ecological study. Yeah, and here it also is another lady that is leading this analysis. It's Dandara Ramos, is an epidemiologist. Yeah, and she. For this, he put it together, data from Cadastro Único, Bolsa Familia, SIM, mortality, and birth data. Yeah, she's working with childhood health, yeah, and the condition of birth is very important. Yeah, then was necessary data on birth. Then these 4 databases integrated, yeah, that generated database that she worked, yeah. Also, she is using propensity score match, and more recently, using regression discontinuity design, yeah, to complement the analysis. And she have shown, yeah, he stratified the analysis a bit, yeah. But the important is have shown that there is an important effect, yeah, of a family that receive Bolsa Família, the childhood mortality decreases significantly, yeah, compared to family that don't receive Bolsa Família. Because this effect that was observed in the ecological study have been now reproduced reasonably well in the individual study. Yeah. And there is another studies going on, including cerebrovascular and the cardiovascular disease. You just see this week discussing the design of this investigation, yeah, and to show, yeah, this paper that I showed in the beginning, very clear, put that poverty is one major cause in NCD. Then take us to think, yeah, that evaluate the impact of an anti-poverty program, yeah, could be very interesting, yeah, to demonstrate or not the pertinence of that hypothesis generated in an observational study. But I think I'm going now change, yeah, to reflect with you, yeah, to finalize my talk on the use of this data, yeah, routine administrative data, yeah. It's not one thing only in health field. I quote here a famous American economist that he using individual data that they call in general administrative data to do econometric investigation in the US population. And he showed at least 3 factors that motivate him to do that. First is that you have a population, or the full population you can have, or near full population, but it's a huge sample size. Okay, you don't have more sample size limitation. The problem of any investigation is the sample size limitation. Not because this, the new generation of meta-studies put together several cohorts, several databases have been so important in demonstrating a hypothesis that cannot be demonstrated in individual study. Second is the longitudinal structure. These data have a natural longitudinal structure, and longitudinal studies are more efficient, as you know, than cross-sectional and the other kind of study. And a third point that he stressed, the quality of the data, yeah? Because a lot of this data collecting the condition that sometimes a lot better than survey data, yeah? That survey data have nowadays a lot of problems, yeah, on reporting, on attrition, yeah, and the underreporting, yeah. There are a lot of different problems that is common, yeah, in surveys, yeah, when you collect the data in the population. Another point is that this was elaborated by the National Academy of Medicine of the United States. This question on the research and the clinical public health practices is the classical way or the traditional way. They are very isolated one from another. In this approach, using routine data, using health data, you can have a merge, yeah, or at least a greater integration between science and practice, and the research and the practice. Well, about the use of this cohort, yeah, population cohort, you have some example. It's not Brazil, it's not the first one. You have some example here in Europe. Swiss have one national cohort uses census data. Yeah, each one done with different objectives, sure, but a bigger population cohort. The Danish civil registration system has been used as a longitudinal study. And recently, New Zealand created a huge data structure, yeah, that is making possible people on healthy area use this structure to build up population cohort using this data. There are many challenges for that. Yeah, in this process, in our experience, you have to go and to solve a problem that you didn't know very much about. Yeah, it was really huge problems. Yeah, related to the data, data access, data, heterogeneity, availability of this data, management, handling of this data. Yeah, and one point that I like to stress is that the data privacy. Because this is a big debate all over the world. How is the question of access this data and to keep data privacy or not, or if it's possible or not, legally or not illegal, acceptable or not. This is a big discussion in different countries. Europe recently did have a new law on data protection that approached this thing. I don't know how the effect that this have on the use of this kind of model of analysis, but sure they have some effect, And this is a big discussion all over the world. All people, bioethicists, epidemiologists, are a lot interested in big data, in privacy, use this data because people know that this is important to produce knowledge, but how to use that, respect, give individual guarantees of privacy and data protection. Then there is a huge debate in different parts of the world. One of the important problems is the linkage. When you link this data, and now I'd like to talk, to link this data, in some countries, you have a common number of anyone. This process is very easy. But in other countries, don't have a common number. Then this become a very more complex problem, like in Brazil. You have, for some data, you have a common number that you can be linked. For all the data, you need to work with probabilistic, they call probabilistic linkage. That is a completely different process, and you need a lot more of computing and things, to operate and to do this kind of a linkage. But a great problem in using this data, in the moment of a linkage, you need to link A with B data, the database A with database B. You need to identify each person to do the linkage. I know that some countries do that. It's possible to do that. For example, I have some experience to observe in UK. They do that there. There is huge projects that are using a data linkage in UK, in Canada they have, in Australia they have, large projects using data linkage, or huge infrastructures, to do data linkage. This is the big issue to us, to solve, And sure, there is a lot of regulation, a lot of physical problem, how to put the data highly protected, that you need all the time. And in this context, that to house, the first objective was to house the 100 million cohort. That it was born as a center, that was the main objective was to house this. While now it has others, other purpose and other uses, as far as time going, quickly people discover all the potential use of this large set of data, to produce knowledge, to solve problems or to solve questions. The basic idea is a center, that data, that you can link different projects or different things, And then 1.5 years ago, you opened this center. Is a center that now works around 50 people, 56 people, that have a very safe environment, And this center is connected with a supercomputer center that is very close to it, And you're using the performance and things of this supercomputer center, but it's vinculated with the area of SIDAX. Yeah, this is physically well protected. There is no virtual openness. Yeah, this system is not open in the web. It's completely closed. Yeah, and all the transference of data to in out are controlled and manually done. Yeah, under protection. Yeah. And all the operation on identified data is doing in a safety room, yeah, not to escape data, yeah. People who work in infectious disease sometimes work in labs, NB3 lab is a very complex lab, not to escape the virus. Here is a structure not to escape the data, not to any data go out and be protected. And also with a lot of regulation on who assesses the data, who go in the safety environment and the other things, yeah. But at the end, the idea is that there's in this environment to do the linkage among different databases. Some ministries in Brazil accepted that, they transfer some databases for this center, yeah, you have identified data inside the center that are fully protected in this environment. You are a guardian of this data, yeah, and sure that there is a lot of rules to use that, yeah. The center has other objectives, as I said, but I'm going. The data platform is in process of building a complex data platform with levels, yeah, data production, data curation. That is an important thing to preserve the data, to build up metadata to all databases, yeah, and data access. That is the level of this data become data sets or visualization of this data or things that make this accessible for others. This is all done in high standard of ethics, privacy, and security. One thing that you need to solve was the linkage, the probabilistic linkage among the, for example, mortality data and the cadastro único. To link this, there are no common number. Then you need to do linkage, probabilistic linkage. Then you develop a first software. You have our own software. There is some software in the world, but you want to develop our own software with high level of accuracy and building now contexts, and also to work with so huge amount of data. You develop your first one that was very good in terms of accuracy, but have a problem of scalability. It takes a long time, yeah, because people are used to do linkage of 1 million with 10,000. Here is 100 million with 20 million things. And then this is a huge compute efforts. And recently you develop a new one, a young research in SIDAX developed a new one based on the same thing as Google on the search engine indexing system, yeah. It's the first time that is used in the world, yeah. He have this bright idea and developed that, yeah, and you got the same level of accuracy of the previous one, but with a great level of scalability, reduce the time of execution in 20 or more %. Data curation, metadata, flow of the data, yeah, there is a lot of rules inside. How these data sets are open or not open, yeah. What is open, not open, this is a complex topic, yeah, in the privacy discussion, yeah. When you link some data, yeah, the chance that you identify this data increase, yeah. And the new methods like machine learning and the other method that you use to analyze your data also is useful to identify the data. Then there is a huge discussion going on in this field that make us to be very careful, yeah, on to give access, yeah. And then from now, all the analysis done inside SIDAX. Even if the person is outside SIDAX, he uses VPN system, yeah. But it's used in you have a second level, yeah, security level of where analysis is done, yeah, where this database cannot be downloaded, are protected, and the analysts have access to these specific databases to analyze it, yeah, even if it is out, is in other place, yeah, he can access and do the analysis. Then you not yet transfer data set given a discussion going on identification. Né? Then I want to conclude, né, I want to stress is unprecedented in terms of magnitude of these studies. You can see things as I show in leprosy cases, because you can see things that was never shown before, yeah. This effect, for example, in leprosy, and all the potential that you to fragment your data to make sub-analysis of your data is a huge potential. Né? Social and health data collected and organized and linked in a single large cohort. Né? The possibility of understanding the role of social factors and the impact of social intervention on health in details never before possible. Né? Innovative in terms of you have a longitudinal approach, né? Allowing investigation of relationships over time. Yeah, there are a lot of linkage that people use. Yeah, a lot of them are cross-sectional. Yeah, there is some, as I showed, but not so much example of longitudinal data. Even in special to study on social determinants and social policy. Né? And the production of these anonymized data sets, né, to test different hypotheses that can be generated for researches from different parties. Yeah? They will now create a network of collaborators, that people can have their own research question and ask for access. Yeah? You start to do that slowly, given the results. But you start to do that people can start to ask for databases to do testing different hypotheses. A big question a big, what I call here, big epidemiological data approach. I think these have effects on epidemiology. In my view, epidemiology is changing quickly. Yeah, I think in the near future, these large database and things will be more possible. Yeah. And then it's creating new possibilities on epidemiology, and I think epidemiologists need to be prepared for this new generation of thinking, that the world is more dynamic than you think before. Epidemiology, our methods are yet very conservative in terms of see the world. You are very statical. You see variables, and you are very, but I think the world is dynamic. And one of the things on the world are the policy, the action that happen all the time upon the people. And I think you need to be part of these efforts to understand that. And this means a huge change in our methodological approaches, and I think this is coming for the next decade. But you need some other question, legal framework to assess. For example, in Brazil, the new law of data protection have a specific article that say that it's possible to use the data accumulated in central, like Ministry of Health and the others, to do public health research. The law is very clear to give that for question that are for the common good. The question that are useful to understand the problem and to benefit the population. I think this is a big bioethical question that comes to the others, the balance of the ethic of use of the ethics of no-use. Because some ethicists are very restrictive to put the question of the use, but there is a huge dilemma, ethical dilemma, not to use that. You are privating the population to understand and to understand problems that are upon this population and not contributing to solve this problem. Then this is a question I think that must be in bioethical debate, and some ethicists are doing that. To develop governance models, this is a very important question. How to have data access, sharing, opening of this public data. This is a common good in the how to operate and to give this common good. To stimulate conceptual and methodological development, for the design and the analysis of big epidemiological data. I think it's necessary that. And to train a new generation of epidemiologists in an interdisciplinary and collaborative model. Eu acho que this model of science, based on individual people in PIs and things, also is needed to be over in some time, to be really based in networks, in groups, in collaboration, and strongly in interdisciplinarity, and this big data approach, as others, because it needs a lot of interdisciplinarity to be successful. Well, thank you very much. Muchas gracias y obrigado.
Okay, we got some time for questions and comments. Carlos.
Thank you. Thanks, Mauricio. I think the project is fantastic, and I have a question. Have you considered to test the effects on health of the impeachment against Dilma Rousseff? To test the effects on health of the impeachment of President Dilma Rousseff.
No, look, I put the question here in the beginning to call the attention. When the project was conceived, it was in the virtual time. I was looking for benefit. Now you have this shift. And there is another analysis going on in the country. There is another groups, including in my group, you analyze that. You have an analysis that covers the effect. The cohort was more designed to study the effect of the social programs on health. Evidently, if the social program is affecting the future would be a nice opportunity to study if it change the magnitude of the effect, yeah. But out of that, yeah, you are studying this specific moment in Brazil, yeah, after the impeachment, yeah, all the policies and all the austerity measures, yeah, very clear, yeah, that have a huge effect that even is very interesting because even no one expected this effect to be so brutal, yeah. You see the infant mortality, the shift in the infant mortality. Everyone is trying to understand how complex and how deeply was the intervention and how connected probably it's health with the social phenomena, because when you look at the effect, what more affected was not only health, health was not the most affected in this process, but all the chain of social protection, increase of unemployment and all the chain of social protection. Then I think this could create a very nice framework to analyze this moment, and I can say you that there is a good group of people that are connecting, and doing a lot of efforts to understand, to collect the data very quickly, and try to start to understand what's happening. Only to say, in few days will be published a small comment on this question. Use one of our system of monitoring of NCD risk factors, and was drunk, people who drink a lot, is a measure that you see that is coming down until 2015. In 2017, in 2 years' time, it is now in the same level than 2010. There was a complete reversion, of the trend, and in 2 years the trend was back to the same level as 2010. Then is a very special moment, to be analyzed, and really you are try to do this, use all the data, all the way that you have available, there are people in the Ministry of Health and several different universities in Brazil that are linked together, in doing complementary analysis to understand that, Then is what I can say now. But yet we are yet expected to go deeply in this positive period. This is the advantage to have retrospective data that you can study periods without thinking. You can break your periods of time. Then you are now, for example, in the analysis that you have done, you are studying until 2015. That is the period of before this huge change.
More questions or comments?
Manuel Franco from University of Alcalá and Johns Hopkins, thank you very much for your presentation. My question goes on how to build this fantastic center that we envy so much in, I guess, anywhere in the world that we work on epidemiology and public health. If you can tell us some inside stories about how to build political will, how to get the funding, how did you end up putting it where, how will you continue? Please tell us all the details.
The secret, Well, it's not if you can take a sit in take a wine and you talk about that. Well, you needed to build a political moment to that, First, in Brazil, there is the epidemiology community have a nice tradition, and a strong role in the public health and thing. This is important, Myself, as part of this strong community, is very nice, is a very influential community, in the country, in the policies in general, in the political arena and things. So this is one point. Another point is to persuade people to accept that. That is not so easy because it's not so well regulated. This is in any part of the world. For example, there is a nice history of this guy, economist from the United States, that have this data. He only can have that data that he used in the research if he had a job, in one of the public agencies in the United States. And then he got the job, to get access to the data, He only get the data to get the data. You see how extreme this can think. Then you need to convince all the time people, that you are. Then one thing that you put stronger was privacy, to give the center a level of privacy, that was very high level of privacy. You try to use all the concept of privacy in advance, not to wait for developing, but this was a big question since the beginning, It's a center that data cannot escape the center. Anyone who give a data to CDAX, this data will be protected. Then transmits a level of confidence in that. Another thing was to create, in the discussion of the law, to create a moment in the parliament. You thought that was necessary, And there is a lawyer in Brazil that he fully dedicated for data, data access. And he advised us in some way, And it was very nice to understand all the panorama, Brazil panorama on data discussion, including legal frame and the legal question. And it was a time of the discussion of the law. And the rapporteur of the law, the member of parliament, you convince him to come to visit CDAX, to him to understand about research. Research was important. And then in this moment was involved in the National Academy of Science, the Brazilian Society for Advancement of Science, the Fiocruz, and the others, influential people to contact these people, and to participate in the parliament, and at the end they were convinced to include a specific article, on public health research in the law, I think it's a huge advance, The law will be in effect in 1 year time, but to have this in the law, create a very legal support in the future, to this kind of activity, On money, is another history, parallel. First, a part of this is done without very few money. In Brazil, we have a lot of institutions that have, in some way, some possibility to help others. Then you need to create a network. To link. For example, you work in a building that is from the Department of Science and Technology of the state. You use a supercomputer center that is hundreds or thousands, million of dollars that costs. You use this center, that is from a technological university, that they gave us access to that free of money. Then there was a lot of things that were done, without direct investment, And on money, you don't have a core money, to the center. You have some small support from Fiocruz, that the institution, and you have some research money, then is applied for grants. There was a call, the Minister of Health, the National Research Council in Brazil, and Gates Foundation, that's a call for all Brazil. You apply for that call, You have some money for the Minister of Health to develop studies on Zika. You have one of your projects is to do linkage to follow, the Zika problem in Brazil. Then you are put together this money as research does, put small monies and try to maximize this money to build up the center. Then it's a process show that you hope in the future to have more success, to keep, because the sustainability of the center is not guaranteed. Right? You don't have any guarantee that the center will be sustainable for a long time if you don't find alternatives. Then you are discussing to work on that, to create ways to make it's sustainable, in the more long term, and this. For now, you have some, our grants and things to keep the center for 2 years. Nah? That is very good. In Brazil, it's a very bad situation in terms of finance, of research. Then you are a lot better than a lot of colleagues, that have difficult to get money for other purposes or other things. Then is a way to do this.
Rosana Peiro from Valencia, from the General Public Health Regional Authorities. Many thanks for your nice presentation. I would like, do you develop some kind of channel or mechanisms to communicate these results to the population? And also if this information, that nice information, is very good information of results of these policies, this is useful to mobilize some groups of populations to give support to these policies?
Yeah, this is a question to the future. Look, you try to open access. You have a communication policies, as far as you can go, But look, these results that I present here are very preliminary. Nah? I think this is a good question from the health system. You think that structure like 100 million cohort, it can be in the future used, for health planning, decision making, That one technological problem be solved, that this can be done in high speed, and the methodological question are arranged. This can be a kind of structure that can be working permanently, to help, for example, a ministry or a program in the area of social protection, to understand the effects of the population. Another thing is that it's possible you connect with it different others outcome. For example, there is people who are working or who are interested to see the effect of the social protection programs on workforce. There is other database, other hypotheses, but it's possible using the same infrastructure to do that. Then there is a huge possibility to be explored in terms of data use. And are you sure? The idea is that this data not only be accessible, because it's some of the project that you develop together with the health system, financed direct or indirectly by the Ministry of Health of Brazil, and the other sources, that this data be available. But also you are making other efforts to using this data to produce things that have a more direct impact, and then and create a visualization area, a very good area of access, visualization and tal. But every act of that depends on resources investment. Then there is always some limits to go. But see that we are trying to have a very active communication area. If you go in our website, you can see there is everything that's happening communicated. It's very open. A lot of people are interested to know CDAX from different agents, governmental agents. One of my tasks is to receive visitors. In CDAX. That come interested. How can think on their own question to use that. Then this is a process. You have 1.5 years of development. Then you are not. I think you did a lot of things, but you're not. Can go further, then you're capable. One thing that you want to show is that this solve important question. For example, leprosy in Brazil. This can help deeply to understand on leprosy in Brazil. And this data, in some moment, when the analysis finish, will be public. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, I think any pressing question, comment? So I think we are really reaching the time that was slot of time that we were given. I want to thank again Mauricio for this exciting presentation, especially, at least for us in Portugal, where everything should be easy. We have a number, like the Nordic countries. And now, unfortunately, the further we go in electronic process, the less we have as availability to things. So we are struggling for getting data on causes of death and link it with other characteristics, which is a shame, of course. Just for you to know, in Portugal, it's impossible to link the birth and death certificate. And this is not a technological problem, it's not an ethical problem, it's just a problem of sharing power, which we, as epidemiologists, were unable to do. So thank you very much for remembering, Mauricio.